I'm having some pest problems inside of my IKEA greenhouse cabinet that I've turned into this large terrarium that you see behind me here. I don't know where they came from. Everything was going very, very well for a decent amount of time, and recently I've noticed some aphids inside the cabinet, which are a plant pest I'm not really used to dealing with. I've had plenty of spider mites, thrips, mealybug, plenty of mealybug here in my home, but I've never dealt with aphids, and I honestly don't even know like where they came from or anything like that. But I know that I need to get rid of them. The issue is I already treat my greenhouse cabinet very well. I give it only distilled water because the minerals in tap water would, build up on the glass and in the soil and not be good for my carnivorous plants in there. Not that they're really thriving. Regardless, I only want to use good stuff inside the cabinet. I don't want to spray any pesticides or even like neem oil spray and stuff because I use like springtails and isopods inside my cabinet. So I'm kind of left to figure out what the other options are. I used to release beneficial insects in my home. I used to release green lacewing larvae. Lacewings are native to the area that I live, which is Philadelphia. I actually often see them land on my window, the adult forms that is, and I always want to bring them inside and put them inside the cabinet so hopefully they would lay eggs, but I can't really do that. So, and also that's just rude to do. So I ordered online some green lacewing larvae. Like I said, I've done this before. I've done this many times actually, and I've stopped doing it because I haven't heard of this happening to anybody else from any of my research. But the green lacewing larvae bite me, and I don't know if I'm like allergic to their like spit or whatnot, but the bites on me get really swollen. I don't like it. It's very uncomfortable. So I've since just been using like houseplant systemics and Captain Jack sprays and sharp sprays of water to deal with the pests in my home, but I've never had to deal with pests inside an enclosed container like this. And the fact that it's enclosed is making me feel a little bit better about putting green lacewing larvae in there. Are they going to escape? Yeah, some of them are probably going to escape. I'm keeping them here in my office. I'm not dispersing them throughout my home like I used to do. So they might be crawling around on the plants in the office here, which honestly is a good thing because the aphids have spread to some of the plants like that Hoya that's hanging right there. I found a couple aphids on there. Not a major problem here, but I'm just trying to nip it in the bud before it becomes the real deal. But also if they venture onto like my Hoyas and start eating the mealybugs off of them, that's fine with me. I just don't want them crawling on me like in my bed like I used to find in my bed. So I'm not releasing them in my bedroom, but we don't really have that many plants in my bedroom anyway, so I don't even think they're gonna work their way over there. So that's fine. I'm taking a really long time to just unbox this little box here today. I think I've done this before. But we're doing it again. And then I will release them inside the cabinet, show you how I do it. And then I will check in with you in a week or two, probably like 2 weeks, to see how things are going. Report good news, hopefully. That would make sense if we're releasing these voracious insects that are going to eat all the aphids inside the cabinet, but who knows? The green lacewing larvae themselves are not very expensive, but the shipping is kind of expensive. You have to order these overnight. So they cost like $25 for the 400 larvae. I like to buy the larvae, not the eggs. I just don't have success with the eggs. But the shipping is like $35 to do it overnight. So it ends up costing like $60, $70 depending on what the shipping and the taxes are. And they come in the box in this little frame right here. I can see one of the larvae actually sitting on top. I guess it got out somehow on top there. I'm going to open this. Actually, fun fact, you can see it's in a bunch of different compartments because green lacewing larvae are cannibalistic. They're super voracious eaters and they will eat each other if given the chance because they're that hungry. So I'm gonna take you over to the cabinet in a second, but I'm literally just going to peel open this hex frame here and lightly tap some of them onto the plants and probably just place the hex frame somewhere where I feel comfortable that the rest of them are going to leave and enter the ecosystem that is the IKEA greenhouse cabinet. So let's just go over there and do the damn thing. Okay, so we are here in the cabinet. I'm just going to open up this, and some of them are kind of sticking to the felt as I'm opening it, so they kind of are going a little flying inside the hopefully inside the cabinet and not onto me, because that's not what I want. But I'm just gonna lightly tap onto the leaves, and some of them will end up on the leaves. Some of them will end up probably in the dirt. It's probably more likely what's going to happen. Just trying to do my best to not get them on me. I'll usually like tap them around on all my plants, but since this is a confined area, I'm just really gonna like place this piece of felt that has some on it like up here so they can crawl off and find their way onto the plant. I think I'm gonna open up this other side of the felt too, and then just place this hex frame like maybe behind this plant here so that once again they can just kind of crawl out. I'll put this, if there's anything on it, yeah, there's a couple on it. I'll just put it down here. A couple on my hand, so just blowing them off. Doesn't look like there's any more on my hands. If you don't like bugs, this might not be something you want to do. It's just so easy to release these in your home and then not have to worry about like the pests. Instead of just like going in here and cleaning off these leaves one by one, trying to find all the pests hiding. Like I see an aphid here, but I'm just gonna leave it because they'll find it at some point. I want them to have food. And like I mentioned, they're mostly gonna stay inside the cabinet here because that's where all the pests are. They're going to stay with the plants and the pests. But some of them might venture out of the cabinet. But if they do, they're more than likely going to be drawn towards my plants that also have pests on it because that is what their instincts are going to tell them. Let me try to give you a close-up so I can try to show you more of what these guys look like since you obviously can't tell from that far away. Here's one crawling on the end of the anthurium leaf. I'm not gonna really be able to zoom in more than this. I'll try, but you're not really gonna be able to tell what they look like, but they are that small. All of this little stuff is just the food, the little sprinklings you see that came out while I was tapping it. That is just some food that was for them to not starve on their journey over here since they are very, very hungry. But if we look at the hex frame here, if you look carefully, you'll probably see a bunch of little ones moving. Most of them are still inside the hex frame. Some of them are really, really young. Sometimes we'll have a couple of older ones in the mix, but these ones seem to be pretty young, so they're kind of hard to see. But since they are quite small, you might not even notice them at all in your home. I feel like I typically release these and I think they all died because I can't find them anywhere. And then within a couple of weeks, there's a couple of green lacewing adults flying around my home. So it works. You just might not think it does. You can kind of see some lacewing larvae still hiding on the netting here. But I've definitely had some aphids on this coconut orchid here, and my philodendron white princess, that new leaf back there, has a couple of aphids on it I can see right now. So maybe I should usher one of those lacewings over to there so it could get a nice good meal in. But that's pretty much all you do. You release the lacewings and you wait, which is the best part about it since you don't have to do anything. Okay, it's officially been a little over 2 weeks since I first released the green lacewing larva in the greenhouse cabinet. My last sighting of the larva, probably like 4 days ago at this point. I have not seen any at all in the last couple of days. But I do have good news to report. The aphids that were all over the cabinet, I'm barely seeing any of them. There are a couple here and there. I knew this wasn't going to eradicate my aphid issue, but boy, did it really solve it for the short term. In fact, I feel like I could completely eradicate the problem if I were to be releasing the green lacewing larva I would say every 2 weeks. I feel like every week would be too often. There would be too many of them and they would just be eating each other. But if you do every 2 weeks, I feel like that's around the time where I was no longer seeing them, maybe just seeing a couple of them roaming around before then. So I feel like that would be a good way to just keep the population going inside. There's a chance in a week or so, I might see some green lacewing adults flying around the greenhouse cabinet, or probably more likely around the home, because some of them probably escaped the greenhouse cabinet. That's probably where they were most likely to not get eaten by another green lacewing. If I find any outside, I might just put them back inside in the off chance that maybe they're going to lay eggs. They could lay eggs inside the cabinet and keep the population going. Speaking of that though, another issue that I'm facing that I feel like might be a little niche to my cabinet is I recently discovered ants inside my greenhouse cabinet. I have no idea where they came from, if they piggybacked on a plant or if they crawled in there from my last apartment where I had a problem with ants. I don't really know what kind of ants they were crawling around my last apartment. I had a problem with ants in my last apartment, if you didn't know. And I don't know what these kind of ants are. So it could be a completely unrelated situation, but of course it's correlated in some way, I would say. Corresponding, correlation, I don't know, you know what I mean? And while ants is already just a super annoying thing to just have in your life, the more annoying thing in my situation is apparently the green lacewing larvae are food for the ants because the ants find them as predators, because the aphids release like sticky substances and the ants like the sugary sticky substances and they want to protect the aphids. I don't know if this was just some like bullcrap AI overview that I read from Google, honestly, at this point, but that could be something, that could be an issue. I haven't witnessed any of the few ants that are in here eating the green lacewing larva, but it makes me concerned if they were to like lay eggs or something, they would like, I don't know. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just here to share my experience with you. So let me know in the comments if you have any information about that, or any information on how I can get rid of the ants inside this greenhouse cabinet without harming the other insects in here, like the lacewings and the springtails and the isopods. I guess they're not technically insects, but the other organisms that I keep inside the greenhouse cabinet that are beneficial. I don't want to harm them, but the ants aren't beneficial to me. If they are beneficial to the plants in any way, they're not beneficial to me. But this video is about the green lacewings, so let's get back to that. Actually, it's more so about just pest control inside the greenhouse cabinet, which is something kind of difficult to do. Like I was saying, with having other organisms inside the cabinet, I don't want to spray anything harmful in here, so releasing the green lacewings was just the perfect answer to finding these aphids in here. Will I release them again? 100% yes. I'm probably gonna do it in like a week or two, or maybe I honestly might wait until I see a couple more aphids, since the problem has really been nipped in the bud right now and I'm barely finding any aphids, and the few that I'm finding I'm just grabbing and squishing with my fingers. But as this is a very vast ecosystem with a lot of places to hide, there could be more aphids or ants than I'm aware of. So I need to stay proactive, so I will definitely be releasing them again soon. It's just kind of expensive to do weekly, bi-weekly, even monthly. It's not like a cheap thing to do. It costs like $60, $70 to do, which for, you know what, for peace of mind, it is kind of worth it, and not having to really lift a finger. It's worth it. It's so worth it. But I still don't think I would be doing it like every 2 weeks unless there was like a major problem and I would be losing more money by losing all the plants inside the cabinet or having to start from ground. I was gonna say ground zero. That's not what I meant. From the ground up. Oh God. But yeah, that's really all I have to report. Really happy with the way that this went. Would do it again. 1 out of 1 me recommends. So thank you for joining me. I'll see you in my next video. Hopefully, if you have a greenhouse cabinet, you don't have any pests inside there, but if you do, this is a great option. I'll leave everything I used linked in my description below in case, in the off chance, that you want to do this yourself. All right, I'll see you guys next time. Have a great day.